Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Academy Assessment. I am, of course, Spawn, the head coach of Team Liquid Academy. And joining me for today's episode is going to be Bob Jenkins, the top laner of Team Liquid Academy. Jenkins, tell everyone about yourself. I want your real name, age, kind of give me your story.
My real name is Thomas Tran. I'm 21, been playing League for at least almost 8 years now, since season 3. And yeah, this is my 4th year playing competitively.
Okay, and where are you from, Thomas?
I am from New Jersey, born in Neptune, but I live in a town called Toms River.
Nice. All right, and tell me about your past in League of Legends and the LCS this year.
Started in season 3, was mostly playing Kennen for about 3 or 5 seasons straight, and then I got to Scouting Grounds, and that was when I got my first taste of being in the professional scene. And after I missed the second one, I got an offer from Golden Gardens Academy.
Okay.
And then I played there for about one split. Didn't do too well my first year, and then took some time off, qualified for the 3rd Scouting Grounds, did okay there, and then got picked up by Team Liquid after. And then ever since then, I've been in TL.
Okay, cool. And why did I want you on the Academy team?
I think the reason why you want to be on the Academy team was that last year on TL Academy, the team was a bit of a mess, and there's rough patches in the within the TL Academy team, and I think that you thought me and Armeo were one of the shinier spots on the team, at least.
Yeah, for sure. Do you remember our first interactions together?
Yeah, I remember you were like, why do you keep playing Lilia top? Do you think it's good? And I'm just like, yeah, I think it's good. I had a lot of success with it, and I think that was the conversation,
Yeah, because from my perspective, right? So as a coach, when you challenge a player, what you want is a player that's not afraid to stand up for their opinions and tell you what's good. So I was going pretty hard on the Lilia thing. I was told that maybe you're a pretty chill guy, don't really push back. So then when you push back on that, I was super happy because I was like, this is a guy that can stand up for himself and show what he thinks is actually strong. So before all of esports though, you went to college.
Yeah.
Tell me about your college life.
I went to Rutgers, so I think that's the State University of New Jersey.
What were you studying?
I was studying for pharmacy, but I wasn't qualified right away to study for pharmacy, so I was undecided.
And was that your dream, or was that your parents' dream?
That was my parents' dream, but also for me, it was just it makes sense because it was low work time and decent salary, so I was I can make it work probably. Mm-hmm. But the problem was I actually liked playing League more at the time because that was the only thing I found interesting.
Okay.
And I actually didn't want to go to college initially. I would take a year off, but my parents ended up making me go to college, so didn't do too well in college because I was trying to make for that second year of Scouting Grounds at the same time while studying for classes. Didn't show up to a lot of classes, but ended up passing them all anyways.
Nice. And so tell me about how you convinced your parents to allow you to take that break from school to try out for the next Scouting Ground.
I actually got the offer after that semester of college for Golden Garden, so I took that. But before that, I was explaining to my parents that I just need 1 year off. If I don't make it, I'll just quit altogether and focus on school. But the offer showed up and I took the offer.
Nice.
But I think at that point I had convinced them already to let me take the year off to pursue.
When you joined Golden Guardians, you were on a team with another Bob.
Yeah.
And you've told me this story a couple of times, but just for fans, tell the story about the Bobs. How did this happen?
So on Golden Gardens Academy, it was me and Bobkin, and Bobkin's a very a famous League streamer. At the time, Bob wasn't actually my real name, so Locodoka was we can't have 2 Bobs here, and so we ended up doing a 1 versus 1, and I ended up losing. I remember locking a random champion, but I was more happy that Bob kept his real name. Mm-hmm. I'd rather have myself change my name because I wasn't too attached to the name, and not just yoink someone's actual real name.
Okay, you joined Team Liquid in 2019.
Right.
Tell me about the first year at Team Liquid Academy, 2019.
So the first year was very exciting because it felt like this is what Academy should have been for me, because my first year in Academy wasn't very successful, or I wasn't having a very good time there anyways. It felt like everyone was a family. Everyone wanted each other to succeed and do well. Mm-hmm. My team was of Mike Young, Matt, Shoryu, and Insanity.
And how did the team do? Because that's a pretty stacked team back then. Were you guys able to make playoffs? Or?
So the thing was, our team at the time, we felt that we were good enough as with experience. So Mike Young and Matt, for example, were an LCS, and we thought we were good enough without a head coach, because we thought it was actually detrimental to the team because people will get tunneled on whatever the head coach was saying, that it was better to not just play with the head coach. And I think Michael Aldrich did a good job of facilitating meetings. He wasn't forcing any of his ideas. He was just commenting about what he thought we could be doing or what we should be focusing on.
Mm-hmm.
And our team was a lot more happy because we weren't stressing out over what was right, what was wrong. We just played how we wanted to play. We ended up beating Counterlogic Gaming Academy in the first round and then lost to Cloud9 1-3.
And during that year, I know that, Impact is on the team, Core's on the team. Like, did you guys used to hang out? Like, what was it like?
My first year with TL Academy, me and Impact like didn't really talk to each other. It wasn't until the year after in 2020 when I was with Tactical that me and him would stay late at night and we would play solo queue. Core and Impact would go home like late and they would just, hey, you guys want to tag along for Korean barbecue? And we did that very often, at least like once or twice every week.
Nice.
And it was a really good time.
Would you say that like that made you like feel like more like part of the whole squad when Impact and Core were like willing to hang out with you guys?
Yeah, I think so. I think that it's good to have like a healthy relationship between both the LCS and Academy teams, even if it's not as players, like as like people. I think it helps the environment a lot.
And obviously 2020 happens, right? And we won't talk about the regular season because I think we've done that to death, right?
Oh.
But like it seems like a little bit like back and forward, unsuccessful. But then you go to Worlds with the LCS team. Tell me about that experience. Like head coach Chat, was he the person that asked you? Was it Dodo? Like how did you get invited and what was your kind of reaction?
Yeah, I think it was like both Jat and Dodo. It's been a while, but when they first told me, I was just like very happy because I always wanted to be able to go to like a international event. Not even like even if I'm not playing, just to see the environment. I was told before that it was possible that I was going to be the sub for like the past two events. So like the fact that I finally was able to go was very exciting for me.
Cool. And talk to me about Chinese solo queue.
Chinese solo queue was very, very exciting. I think I've done like one or two interviews out of it before.
Yeah.
For TL, but it's like a very like bloodthirsty region. The thing I learned there was that you shouldn't hold people back from playing how they want to play. Everyone's just playing to win, like their own way, and like you got to go with it. I think that it made me realize like how slow like North American solo queue was, because like you could like tell your team that like you shouldn't fight on this timer, but if they think they can win, there's no holding them back. They'll just go.
You got to support the boys, don't you? And then obviously you, John, Eddie go on a Korean boot camp. Talk to me about like the kind of experience, like because I know you were rooming with Armeo at the time. Like, what was that like? Did that bring you guys closer together? I've heard some duo queue stories about you and John running it down on Summoner's Rift together.
Yeah. So actually, when we first went, so I landed in Korea first. So I went on a separate. We went to separate quarantine hotels. I ended up going with Blabber from C9, and we stayed at the same hotel for 2 weeks. It was exciting because we were like wondering how far we would get, and we were making like really good progress. At first we were keeping up with Edward and Blabber, and then they were going ahead because they were playing more. And it's not that we were playing less, but I guess we were playing a little bit less, but like we were playing like 18 games a day.
Yeah.
So like they were playing more than us, so we were like, oh my god. Yeah, I mean, I just had a really good time because like we would like play against like famous Chinese players like 369 and like Knights, and we would like beat them. We're like, oh wow,
And then you come back from the Korean boot camp, and you find out like I'm your head coach, and there's two random Aussies on the team, and then we're picking up a 19, 20-year-old kid in Yun. Well, what was your first thoughts upon like meeting everyone in person? I guess in January.
I didn't really watch Oceania seriously.
You didn't?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Well, it was actually funny because me and Insanity, when we were on 2019 TL, we would watch like Oceania really late at night, and we would cheer on. Like we didn't know who was the good or not, but like we would just cheer on the team that we thought was like playing better than the other.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what to think of like Harry and Bill, but I had faith in my coaching staff that they were gonna be good, because I heard Bill was like MVP candidate, and I heard Harry had very flashy like champion pool, so I was like, okay, then he's probably good mechanically. So
okay.
And then Yun, he subbed in for some of our academy scrims before, so I already had experience with him.
And our first scrim. Do you remember our first scrim? Everyone just talking 100 miles per hour and yelling and.
Oh yeah, we won though.
Yeah, we did win. What did you think of them once you played with them?
Once I played with them, I thought that this was a very good team to play with, because like everyone seemed like they had a lot of ideas that could be good, as long as everyone followed the game plan. No one was willing to play scared. Everyone was just like we got to fight. We'll just cave their heads in.
Okay.
And I was down for that.
And first split, what was your impression of the first split?
I think that we were definitely, we tied first with C9. I thought we were the best, if not or one of the best, if not the best team. The problem I had was that there was such a long break from Northern Arena that it felt hard to get back into the groove of it because we were just on a mini vacation.
Yeah, 4-week mini vacation.
Playing,
yeah,
but it was just we were what's the lead up, And I think we lost first round of EG after a really good game one, and then
pretty much perfect game one, and then somehow lost back-to-back games. That was an interesting experience.
I think that I was playing very well. That was probably what I would consider up to my standards. So I was very happy with how I was playing. Wasn't playing too many champions at the time in that tournament, and Yun was doing well too. I remember he saved one game with Dark Harvest Silver, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. After split one happens, you have a conversation with Jat and the management team. What was your initial reaction to getting pulled up to the LCS?
So
were you scared?
It was funny because the conversation before that was they were asking me about their week of opponents, but they were also those were players that I played with in Academy the year before. So I was I don't know why they're asking me this. And then they're supposed to, hey, you're playing or LCS for the last 2 games of the weekend, and I was like, oh my god, I'm actually playing. I wasn't expecting to get pulled up to TL LCS so fast, or if at all, because I was it's Alphari, it's very, I don't see anyone replacing him, and the fact that I was able to replace him, I was pretty shocked. I was just excited that I was being pulled up.
Now that it's been a couple of weeks, right, since you've been back in Academy, what are your honest thoughts on your performance in the LCS? You had a 60% win rate. I think that's the 4th highest out of top laners. How do you think you did?
On my very comfortable champions, I was performing very well, and then there was some games where I was playing things more so for the team rather than what I thought would be better for me to play, even if it would make the drafts different. The biggest example is probably Nocturne. I performed okay early and then ran it down the rest of the games, but yeah, I think I had a decent showing, but I just wish I could have shown more of what I was really good at rather than what the team thought was best for our team identity.
Yeah, and I think that both yourself and John have had a tough situation to go into because you've gone into an established team that you kind of have to bring your best attributes, but also try and fit the team dynamic, right? Whereas in Academy or when you start in a team in LCS, you kind of get to organically build that together, and it can be much easier. But what was kind of the community reaction or your family reaction to when you got pulled up to LCS?
I actually had to tell my dad because whenever we have Academy games, he always messages me good luck and stuff, but I was just Dad, I'm going black, or I'm going completely offline, and I'm just gonna focus on the game. And he's like, yeah, just go for it. It's we'll be watching, and he would send me pictures of my whole family watching after our games.
That's actually so cool because you go back and they're a bit hesitant to allow you to take that gap year. And now you have your whole family watching you play LCS. That must have been a really good feeling. And what about community reactions? Because I know at the start you just completely turned off all social media. Have you switched it back on? Have you scrolled back through the comments at the start? Have you gone and looked at the Team Liquid subreddit where people are making, the memes about you carrying and the Akali performance where you just one hit, was that Immortals? Did you just one hit Insanity or whoever it was in the mid lane and pretty much carry the game? Have you gone back and actually looked at the community reaction to how you were playing?
Honestly, it was just that one day where I actually looked. But after that, I knew how bad it was to look at social media because I had teammates that didn't deal well with social media before. Mike Young was a very a good example. So he always told me to stay off, and I agreed. And I honestly, for me, I don't look at social media much anymore, and it's more I don't have the urge. Before it was I have to look at no matter what, because it was my source of entertainment. But now my mindset's been a lot healthier after not looking at social media.
What's your relationship with Alphari? You talked about your previous relationship with Impact, but how do you and Alphari get along? What does a day in the life of Jenkins look like in regards to Alphari?
At first, it was it felt hard to approach him because, it's he was I looked up to him a lot because he was a lot of my inspiration last year for counter picks into certain meta matchups, and he also was 10th, just like I was 10th last year. So it was nice to see still a good player on a lower place team do well, even if his team wasn't performing well. Eventually, he started asking to do 1v1s with me, and I was like, yeah, sure. And after that, it was like every either 2 or 3 days, or like we'd at least do two times a week and just play 1v1s at before scrims or after scrims. And then eventually we started meeting in person because I think everyone got vaccinated and we were actually able to talk to each other in person, and we have a pretty good relationship.
Yeah, you guys respect each other a lot. And then you returned to Academy. What was that like when you returned to Academy? It's obviously not an easy experience, right?
It was a little sad that I wasn't going to be able to play LCS with the team anymore. For me, it was a good experience being able to go back to like my original team that we like performed well with. At first it was Inori, and then finally like John comes back, and it was just like, you know, the boys are back. It's like our first week of Academy in summer, like we 4-0'd top of the ladder, and then after that I wasn't full pressing with the team, so like we went 2-2, and then, you know, immediately when the team's back all together, we immediately go 4-0 again, and I was very happy with that.
Jat/Cold as a coach, because you work with both of them, versus Spawn/me as a coach. What was it like between Academy and LCS?
I've heard like Grabs is like, for example, like a very like a he's just there to mediate like a conversation and like just keep people on like a certain track, like he won't force ideas. That's how I kind of viewed like Jad as. Like he would just like chime in and say what he thought, and it was like different from what we did because you're a bit more hands-on, whereas Jad is just like more loose. And I think Cold was leading more of the actual like strategics behind like reviews, and Cold would center around like specific setups, and he was like very in depth about like what play we should be looking for.
He's a typical EU player, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's really much like there's a turn, and then with this turn there's a right play, and the right play should be based off like the map state, like this, and he'll like show it to you very methodically. I know Jat is like a lot more freestyle and a lot more like how do you get some creativity into it.
Whereas you, it's just like, you know, optimal play versus like what play we actually did.
Yeah.
So it's like very different, but I appreciate both sides.
And what's next for you?
I'm not sure. Like if TL makes it to Worlds, I'm hoping to be able to go to like Worlds. If not, it's like not a big deal. Hopefully I'm able to play for an LCS team.
Do you think you're good enough to play LCS?
I think so. I think I showed decently how well I could play. I think I could play better than that. Yeah, I mean, I'm just hoping I can play for an LCS team, whether it's TL or it must be another team. But preferably I'd like to stay within TL.
All right, we're going to round out with some questions. This is rapid fire thoughts, so I hope you didn't read this part of the...
I didn't read it.
Okay, good. What do you want to see improved in Academy?
I want to see like an actual like pathway to like LCS rather than like, hey, you won Academy, good luck.
Yeah, I'm the same. I would like to nearly see the scouting grounds draft be like moved to Academy.
Yeah.
I think that would be like cool if like there was some way at the end of the year that like you could get like drafted from the Academy system into the LCS system. What do you want to see improved in your play?
In my play, I think I need to learn how to push for leads more aggressively, because usually I don't call for a lot of resources. So it's hard because I'm either playing from like a deficit or like playing from even rather than like already getting resources and being ahead.
What do you want to see improved in your team's play?
I think we're playing great right now, actually. But more seriously, I think that I want us to be able to close games out more cleanly, because there's a lot of games where we just like mess around and
we get excited when we're ahead, don't we? We get really, really hypey. Makes it fun.
It makes it fun, but also like it gets the heart rate pumping, and it's, like, it's either like we're losing or we're winning right now.
What do you want to see improved in the way you're coached?
I guess how to get like being told how to get or how to call for resources better. Because I know there's like I'll either lean into like really calling for heavy resources or like not calling at all.
Yeah. What do you want to see improved in the amateur scene / NA talent development? I want to see the stigma gone, because like I see that there's like this, there's like a big stigma from like fans or even sometimes orgs. I feel like there is that like, you know, age or someone being in the scene for too long or something is like viewed negatively. Like people very rarely like give people like a fair shot in the Academy amateur, I think. And I think like, for example, what like Andrew and Viper were able to do by going down to no org and then like be able to build their way back to Academy. I think that's so fantastic. So I think like a little bit more of a like, you know, couple of second chances, couple more like be like a little bit more understanding is like what I think needs to change around North America amateur.
I think the ERLs, the European regional leagues do like a pretty good job of that. I think there's a very old player, I think it's Nee Godbro. I don't know if you've heard of him, but like He's still playing, and he's been around for like.
Was he your Kennen inspiration? Because he's a pretty good Kennen player, right?
I've seen a couple of his odds from like season 3, very long time ago. But he's like the example I think was like, there's always like a player for like a specific team, and like even though he's been playing for ages, he's still on a ERL team. So I think that's pretty cool. I think that for amateur, it's just like it shouldn't matter how long you've been in the scene. There's always like a place for a player as long as like they're still trying.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for another episode of Academy Assessment. I've been Spawn. I've been with Jenkins. Jenkins, tell everyone where they can find you.
Hey, you can find me on Twitter at Bob Jenkins, LOL. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
No worries. And of course, I am at SpawnLol on Twitter. And you can find this on our YouTube channel, which you're probably already at. Just click through from the Team Liquid YouTube. And don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll catch you next time.